Good evening and welcome to the 123. I'm Frank and I'm running a little bit late, but we're having a show today, so that's a thing. And we are streaming live at 4:04 on Pacific Standard, which of course is 1 hour before Raw plays on the East Coast. And I'm trying to be mindful of the timing of the East Coast, even though the East Coast is not extremely mindful of me. The amount of spoilers that I get from the WWE or Fox or any of those is pretty amazing. So that's a thing. There's not really a lot of concern about spoiling wrestling for us on the West Coast. So that's definitely an issue. So anyway, I'm wanted to talk today about a couple of things. And before we get too far along on it, let's talk about our wrestler of the week. And by the way, you can always tune in to YouTube here on my personal channel, Frank Perkins, and you can find me right here, and that's at 4 p.m. Now let's talk about our wrestler of the week. All right, so Thaddeus Michael Bullard was born April 29th, 1977. He's an American professional wrestler and former arena football player. He's a global ambassador of WWE and also performs on the Raw brand under the ring name Titus O'Neil. Described by the company as one of the most philanthropic superstars in WWE history, Bullard is the recipient of the WWE Hall of Fame 2020 Warrior Award. Bullard played college football for the University of Florida and thereafter played in the Arena Football League, AFL. His career as a professional wrestler began in WWE's developmental territory, Florida Championship Wrestling, before being moved to NXT, where he was part of the second season and fifth season of NXT Redemption. In WWE, he is a former one-time WWE Tag Team Champion as part of the Primetime Players with Darian Young and the one-time WWE 24/7 champion, being the inaugural holder of the latter title. In 2021, Bullard was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame as a recipient of the Warrior Award, honoring his charitable work, especially in his hometown of Tampa, Florida. Bullard was born in Boynton Beach, Florida. Bullard was born to Jerry and Darla Bullard. His mother was 11 years old at the time of his birth. Wow. He grew up in Live Oak, Florida, where he attended Sewanee High School. He was a standout player. If anybody has any contradicting notes on that, 11 years old seems very young, and I certainly don't want to be, talking ill of somebody who I'm trying to, show honor to. Anyway, he was recognized by USA Today and Parade Magazine as high school All-American as a senior in 1995. Bullard accepted an athletic scholarship to attend the University of Florida in Gainesville, Florida, and played for Coach Steven Spur's Florida Gators football team from 97 to 2000. He redshirted during the Gators' 96 national championship season. Bullard lettered the next 4 seasons, playing in 44 regular season games with 3 starts. He was elected student body vice president in April of 2000 and graduated in August of 2000 while he was an undergraduate. He was initiated as a brother of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. After college, Bullard played in the Arena Football League from 2003 to 2007 with the Utah Blaze, Tampa Bay Storm, Las Vegas Gladiators, and the Carolina Cobras. He was in Florida Championship Wrestling from 2009 to 2010. And then 2010 to 2012. And then, of course, he was part of the Primetime Players from 2012 to 2014. And then he was part of the Primetime Players Reunion in 2016 to 2015 to 2016. He was part of Titus Worldwide, which I'm trying to see. I know someone said something we weren't supposed to, and that was at one time that was the end of that. But he's the Hall of Famer and WrestleMania host 2019 to present. And he had the dubious honor of co-hosting WrestleMania this year with Hulk Hogan. I won't get into why that's questionable, because I think everybody knows. So there's some talk about that. All right. So now I wanted to talk a little bit about Raw. I know you're about to see it, so I know it's one thing to have to sit there and watch something for 3 hours, but it's another thing, and it could really be drudgery to also have to deal with the whole, with, dealing with the fact that it's not exactly well, you deal with the fact that it's bad, but then someone talking about it's bad doesn't make it any better. I know. And I'm there with everybody. I just want to say that. I mean, I watch it. I'm going to watch it when it comes on at 8 here. And, it's been bad. There's just no ifs, ands, buts about it. And it's long. And it drags. That's the thing I was going to say. So I was watching Dynamite. And it was the episode of Dynamite everybody's talking about and saying, maybe it was a little bit too plain Jane because it was Darby Allin versus Jungle Boy. And maybe it's a little bit too early for that kind of match because, for a main event, maybe it should have been a little bit stronger or something like that. But it didn't drag. I watched that show and it was very, very solid. Like, there was no point where I was sitting there feeling like I was just waiting for something to happen. And that was really cool. I was just watching and things happened and it was nice. I was pretty happy about that, actually. So that was a good thing. I was pleased about that. It made me happy. And so that's the kind of thing I'd like to see with WWE, is if they were to, take a little bit of, I don't know, just like the tempo. Like if the tempo was up just a little bit, where I feel like there's a lot of time where we're just sitting around. And it's like you're waiting for the commercials, or you're waiting, or a promo is taking way too long, or it's the third talk show of the night, or it's one of those women's matches that they've shown us again and again, or it's one of those tag team matches that they've shown us again and again. I don't know, but it just really drags. And I find myself clock watching a lot when I'm watching Raw, whereas like I watched this Dynamite and it was just really solid throughout. It's like, and I understand that a lot of people are like, yeah, that wasn't like one of the best Dynamites we've had, but it was really, really quick paced. And there was no point where I was like sitting there saying, oh, I could do this while this is going because it's not that big of a deal or whatever. I mean, when Raw is on, I'll just go get food whenever. But when Dynamite's on, I find myself saying, "Oh, I'll wait because this looks really good. This segment looks good. I'll wait," and then I will wait again and again until like I'm eating at 10. And it doesn't bother me because I saw a really great show. So I would love it if Raw would do that. And I know, like I said, everybody's going into Raw right now, so you're like, do we really want to bring that up? So I'm not going to go over WrestleMania, even though we didn't go over WrestleMania. I guess we should talk about it a little bit. The two big matches really was Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair, which was a really good slogger knocker, as JR would say. We had a lot of good fisticuffs, strong, just strong across the board. Bianca Belair was showing how strong she was at a point where she was holding Banks while walking up the stairs, while just straight press hold, or I think they call it a press slam, having her in a press slam hold and walking up the stairs. So she just looked really, really good, really, really strong throughout. And so that was a win for Bianca Belair, and that was a really good one. And then, of course, we had the main event that everybody, and that was day 2. Day 1, it's kind of better. The Fiend match is garbage. I wouldn't tell somebody to watch it. Basically, you had a bunch of nonsense where the Fiend came out of a Jack in the Box, but which for some reason they wanted to call a box-like structure instead of a Jack in the Box, and it was very it looked very high school theater designed, which is pretty shocking for WWE. And then Bray came up over the onto the Jack in the Box, and then he was able to jump down, and then it was like about 5 minutes of wrestling. Then we had Alexa Bliss melt for some reason that was never disclosed. Like some black goo came down her head, and that distracted Bray Wyatt so that Randy Orton could do a RKO on the Fiend. So it was really dumb. And if you saw it, then you know what I'm talking about. That was night 2. And then the best match by far was Roman Reigns versus I'll think about it. Edge and Daniel Bryan. And the only thing that I think was bad was the finish. I don't know that we needed Roman to just double pin Edge and Daniel Bryan. I thought that was pretty crazy. And I don't know that was needed. I thought that was a little bit too much. But I thought it was a very, very good match. I just think that the finish was a little bit over too much, you know. It really made Edge and Daniel Bryan not look that good. And I was kind of hoping that we would get, at least for SummerSlam, or certainly doesn't look like it's happening for, it's Backlash. WrestleMania Backlash. It doesn't look very good to me. But I was hoping for a Daniel Bryan versus Edge, and hope maybe we'll get that for SummerSlam. I'm still hoping. So we'll see. I don't know. Oh, I think Money in the Bank is next. I don't know what they're going to do with Money in the Bank. Maybe they'll put Edge in Money in the Bank so that way they can go for that. He's going to go and try and get, he's going to try and get back in there. Or maybe they'll put Daniel Bryan versus Edge in the Money in the Bank. So we'll kind of get an idea of one of those two. And that might cause some more conflict and ongoing feud. That'd be really good. I don't know. And then, of course, we had the WrestleMania, the Raw after WrestleMania, which was kind of uneventful, except for no apparent reason, the T-Bar and Mace slammed Drew McIntyre. And Drew McIntyre is not looking real strong right now because he's been beat a couple times. And so I don't know that they're going to have him come back or what they're going to do. We'll see. It should be interesting. So, yeah, that was kind of what happened during that WrestleMania weekend time. At some point in time, apparently there was a fight. I haven't seen it yet, but you might want to check it out, between Jon Moxley and John Barnett. And not John Barnett. Bill Barnett? Josh Barnett. Josh Barnett, the head of Bloodsport. And they had a bloody hardcore match. And I've heard that that's something that you might want to go check out for sure. Then we had a couple AEW Darks and Elevations, and I'm going to see if I can find those. I don't know if anybody actually has the Dark results and Dark Elevation results. I'm going to look for them here. Dark. I don't know why that's capped. AEW Dark results. Look for the Dark results card, and that was, let's see, we'll get the ones. Oh no. Well, just click that, see what we can find here. Pro Wrestling Fandom. Okay, so we have, looks like April 6th, Sportskeeda, Dark results. Oh, here we are. Let's go with this one here. All right, so we had the AEW Dark results. We had the Twin Sisters debut, epic stage segments, and a message to Christian Cage, apparently. So here we go. Let's see. It opened with a brilliant Darby Allin video package ahead of the TNT Champions title defense against Jungle Boy on tomorrow's Dynamite. Okay, so we'll just do the newest one. That makes sense. The most recent episode of AEW Dark featured multiple backstage segments and vignettes to hype up the upcoming Dynamite episode. The quality of production was pretty top-notch throughout the night. We had Excalibur and Taz welcoming fans of the show before moving the spotlight to Justin Roberts for the evening's first match on AEW Dark. And that was Joey Janela with Sunny Kiss versus Willa Day. And obviously, Janela and Alday locked up to begin the in-ring proceedings of the episode. Janela getting wrist control early on in the match. Alday used his athleticism to tip the scales in his favor. Janela fired back with a German suplex. Joey chopped Will in the corner, but his opponent responded with a cutter using the ropes. So Alday laid out Janela with the Toposudo before rolling him back into the ring. Will missed the senton atomico, and Janela got a 2 count. Joey hit a back elbow on his feet. Janela connected with a few stiff kicks to Alday's back. Will reversed the German release suplex by landing on his feet and delivering a drop kick. Janela responded with big clothesline shot. Alder reversed another suplex into a brainbuster. Both men exchanged thrust kicks before Janela hit a low trajectory German suplex into the ring pad. Joey went to the top, but Will decked him with a kick and a hurricanrana. Alday hit a crossbody, called for Janela to get up. He missed a leaping move, but still managed to hit a moonsault press. Janela countered the moonsault with a face plant in midair. Joey Janela pulled the straps down and dropped Alday with a Death Valley driver to win the AEW Dark. I don't know about some of the back and forth. Like, I've heard that as an argument. It's like you've got someone who's, just starting out, and then you've got like someone who's doing Dynamite all the time, and then you like have them go back and forth. I don't know. It's like I don't want to see a lot of Super Smash Smash. I'll be able to talk eventually. Squash matches, but at the same time, I don't know about the back and forth all the time. Sometimes it's like there's people that should just be better, and so they should just, dominate throughout. Then we had Skyler and Frankie Kazarian engaged in a collar and elbow tie-up. Frankie tried to use his range during the mat-based sequence. Kazarian worked his way into the side headlock position, but Skyler responded with a form shot. Frankie Kazarian connected with the 3 chops, followed by German suplex. Christopher Daniels got the tag. He executed a classic vertical suplex for 1 count. Skyler, however, dropped Daniels with an uppercut. Ryzen got the tag, and he hit a big clothesline. And SCU hit a neckbreaker combo on Ryzen, which forced Skyler to break the pin. They took out Skyler with a high-low before hitting the BME. The best Meltzer ever on Ryzen for the win. So that's SCU defeating John Skyler and Ryzen on AEW Dark. I don't know what the rest of the matches are. They really don't do the rest of the matches. So they just do, like 2 matches that they like? Okay, well, this puts me in an awkward position. All right, well, I guess that's what they do. Oh, no, okay, we're sorry. Okay. And this is from Sportskeeda, by the way. Big Swole and Kylan King with Red Velvet versus Ashley and Steph MK on the AEW Dark. And the result was Big Swole and Kaylin King defeated Ashley and Steph MK on Dark. And then the Butcher and the Blade Family Office versus Brick Aldridge and Cole Carter. And Butcher and Cole Carter kicked off the match. As expected, Butcher trucked his opponent with a big crossbody. The Office attacked Carter on the outside while the referee was distracted, while Cole showed some signs of life with a few strikes. Blade dropped him with a high swinging net breaker. Carter eventually escaped and tagged Brick Aldrich, who had initially got the better of Butcher as soon as he came in. Blade made the blind tag, landed a big clothesline. Butcher and Blade hit the powerbomb neckbreaker combo on Aldrich for the win on AEW Dark. Then we had Sonny Kiss versus Jake Manning, and Manning rocked Sonny Kiss with a big kick to start the match. Kiss, however, leaped over Manning, took him down with the tiaras. Sonny brought Manning down with the head check, followed by an Enziguri split-legged stunner for the win. And then Sonny Kiss cut a promo after the match and put the entire locker room on notice. And I'll put that again. Then we had Evil Uno, Stu Grayson and Preston 10, Vance with -1 versus Cowboy, Midas Black, and Jay Lyon. Jay Lyon and Evil Uno started the AEW Dark match. Uno was concerned about the piece of steak in Lion's mouth. Evil Uno's one step ahead of his masked counterpart. He forced the tag to Ken Broadway. Stu Grayson came in, hit an uppercut, a few strikes in tandem with Evil Uno. Grayson ate a kick, executed a belly-to-belly suplex on Broadway. He caught Midas Black in midair, laid him out with the Unragi. Preston Vance came in, elevated Grayson into Midas Black. Vance delivered a delayed vertical suplex that lasted the entire 10 count. Broadway got the tag, and he wasted a lot of time showboating by throwing money right in Vance's face. 10 landed 2 clotheslines and knocked the other opponents off the apron. Lion came in, ate a cutter. Vance followed it with a spine buster on Broadway. Meanwhile, -1 grabbed all the dollar bills that were scattered in and around the ring. Him and Billy Gunn versus Andrew Palace. Billy Gunn wasted no time, overpowering Andrew Palace as soon as the bell rang. He picked Palace up and brought him down with the traditional backbreaker. So it looks like a lot of what I was saying wasn't really isn't germane right now. I guess they are doing more quick finishes for everybody, so that's good. Billy Gunn defeated Andrew Palace, and then we had Dante Martin versus Fuego del Sol. And Martin trapped the Sol in a side headlock to begin the match. He held it tight despite Fuego's attempts to break away. Both men showed off some good chain wrestling, but Martin's transitions were just too slick and unique. Del Sol got a 2 count after a knockout shot. Fuego used his hands for good effect. So body shots in the corner. He had a running spear. Dante executed a Hurricanrana before transitioning into a knee bear to a single leg Boston Crab. Del Sol and Martin were curiously placed on the top turnbuckle. The former performed the double foot stomp. He went the other turnbuckle, hit the corner of the drop kick across. Del Sol missed, and the tornado missed the tornado DDT. Ate a big heel kick. Martin quickly went to the top and delivered 450 splash for the win. Oh, cool. That's a good use of the 450. It's nice. And Dante Martin, I guess, went over. So maybe they're start giving him more of a push. We'll see. Then we have Diamante versus Queen Aminata. This is before Diamante was excused from the company, or maybe it's the other one. I need to look that up. Diamante didn't give Diamante any time to settle down in the AEW Dark match as she attacked the Queen from a shotgun dropkick. Diamante landed short arm elbows, but got caught in flying armbar. Diamante hit 2 elbows, but was rocked by an uppercut. Diamante executed 3 amigos and rolled over the pinfall, and Aminata and Diamante threw hands in the middle, and the Queen connected with a few kicks. Aminata had busted lip, possibly for the uppercut, followed by another brutal drop kick in the corner. Kicked out at 2. The match continued. She almost got the win with a surprise cradle pin. Diamante responded with German release suplex. 2 clubbing clothesline followed before Diamante locked in a body scissors lock for the win on AEW Dark. Brian Pillman Jr. and Hayden Backlund locked up, and Griff Garrison was quickly called upon in the match. Garrison used his reach to keep Backlund grounded. He got a 1 count with a shoulder block. Backlund created some separation and tagged Sackett, but Garrison was extra focused today and wasn't ready to give away control of the match. Garrison hit a leg drop on Sackett before Pillman came in and executed a swinging neckbreaker on Backlund. Hayden Backlund grabbed Pillman's hair, and it opened up a window of opportunity for Sackett to get in some offense. Backlund attempted the crossface chicken wing, but Pillman answered with battering strikes. Garrison got the tag, and he took the fight to Sackett. Garrison got a 2 count with the cradle shock on Sackett. Backlund broke the pin, got wrecked with a big boot. Garrison stunned Sackett with a big elbow strike. The Blondes executed a top rope assisted parabomb combo on Sackett for a win on AEW Dark. Then we had Allen 5, Angels versus Matt Caster. He dropped quite a controversial verse to diss Allen Angles. Excalibur noted that he was glad that the segment happened on AEW Dark and not on TNT TV. So that must have been something fun he had to say. Caster engaged in mind games as he used his power to push Allen Angles around the early goings of the contest. Caster sold Angles' leg kicks like a true veteran. Angles executed a smooth Russian leg sweep for a 2 count. Five landed the southpaw shots in the corner, but Caster responded with a cross chop. Allen got a 1 count following a close range drop kick. Bowens jumped up on the apron, and Caster got the time to reciprocate. Angles went over the top and crashed into Max with a rolling senton from the apron, and Caster was rolled back into the ring. But Angles missed the moonsault press as he landed the knees of the opponent during the AEW match. Caster executed a powerful back body suplex. The Claim member continued to wear down Angles with a classic heel moves. Allen briefly teased an upset with a roll-up, but Caster kicked out. Angles hit a step-up in Zaguri, landed a 10 elbow strikes and a running kick. 5 was on a roll, and as he executed a standing sliced bread, Caster kicked out at 2. Angles missed the frog splash and still managed to hit the moonsault press. Caster kicked out at 2.5, and his loud moan after the kick out said it all. Preston Vance tried to prevent Bowens from passing on the boombox. Anthony did fling the boombox into the ring, but it landed in Angle's arms. The referee stopped 5 from using the boombox. Amidst all the chaos, Caster took a chain from the turnbuckle and wrapped it around his right hand. Angles hit a backward kick and got hit straight in the face with the chain during the subsequent pinfall. The referee didn't see the impact. Caster hid the chain to complete the 3 count, as Taz would call it. Caster and Bowens pulled off a highway robbery. And I think we're going to have the... Then we had a co-main event of Powerhouse Hobbs versus Baron Black. I'm not really sure why that's a main event, besides it being... Okay. He tapped Powerhouse Hobbs during the Letters entrance, AEW Dark, and we're not sure whether that was a good idea. Hobbs shrugged off the strikes as they were nothing and rocked Black with a big body tackle. Oh, that's right. It's Baron Black. Okay. Hobbs tossed Black across the ring. Baron Black showed his striking ability, but Powerhouse Hobbs looked absolutely unfazed as he no-sold all the incoming attacks. Hobbs hit a massive spinebuster before taking his straps off. Hobbs executed reverse DDT, but he was not done with Black just yet. Powerhouse Hobbs ended the match with a big power slam on Black. And then the main event was Pac with Rey Fenix and Penta El Zero versus Dean Alexander. Pac cut his music short and unleashed a barrage of kicks and punches on Dean Alexander. Looked like a man possessed as he stomped away on Alexander in the corner. Pac hooked in the brutalizer and ended the squash match. So that was AEW Dark right before Dynamite. And then during Dynamite, we had of note, of course. Like I said, that was a really good flowing night, and I actually watched it, so I'm just going to comment it straight. We are starting to put reviews up on the website, but the website is currently in process at the moment, so it might be a minute before that's ready. So we have the first match that we started out with, which was a real barn burner. It was Hangman Page versus I'm going to get just some notes, not because I necessarily need I just have to remember the way it worked here. And I am trying to get a little bit more organized There were some things that we used to do with the podcast that was done a certain way, and obviously doing it in video changes some of the feel. So one thing is you have to constantly talk when you're on the radio as well. So it's one thing that has to be done. This format was originally formatted as an hour, and it's still formatted as an hour, so that's not a big thing. I just need to look this up real quick, and we can definitely get to it here. And so here we go, the Dynamite results. And that's a week ago. There we go. Okay, we'll just do that one right there. Okay, so first we had Hangman Page versus Ricky Starks. And this is a really good match. They were pretty well evenly matched, except for Hangman Page is definitely a power. He did a lot of lariats, and of course he did his signature he did his buckshot lariat, but that did not put Starks down. So and Starks ducked and delivered a spear. So then Page recovered, took over, tapped Starks out by grabbing the ankle and a crossface. So it was Page defeating Starks via submission. Then we had Trent versus Pent El Zero Miedo. And I don't think this part of the card was advertised, or I just didn't notice this particular card. Most of the time, all the cards are out. I was not expecting this one. This was pretty good. Trent rocked Penta with a running knee strike, scoring a count of 2. But ultimately, the winner was Penta with a package pile driver. And apparently this was caused by him getting confused because Alex Albergentes said that Trent's mom sucked, which, that's gonna jar you, I guess. Then we had Jim Ross sit down with an interview with the Pinnacle, and of course MJF followed, saying that Jericho surrounds himself with B's, so he looks like an A, and then wrestles A's, so he doesn't look like a B. He denounced the idea that he's great for 25, exclaiming he's great, period. He said he's coming for Jericho's spot at Blood and Guts, and with his family, he's going to take it. Because the Pinnacle consider themselves family. I remember that part too. Okay, then AEW Women's Championship match. Hikaru Shida versus Ty Conti. This is a really good match, and I was really pissed off that Jim Cornette buried it. I know I watch Jim, and I talk about this all the time. And I know if you follow me and you don't like Jim, that's fine. It's not a big deal. If you like Jim, then that's great too, whichever. I like Jim. I like to listen to a lot of the old matches, but sometimes he buries women, and he just buries things unnecessarily, which I think that Conti's a really good wrestler. I've been pretty impressed with her, and fighting Shida, it was really pretty good match. And it ended with a backbreaker with a fireman's carrier into a backbreaker, and then delivered a knee to the face for the win. Then Britt Baker came and said that she was the number one, that she is now the undisputed number 1 ranked woman in the division. And it was weird because I looked at the stats, and originally it didn't look like that was the case. So it looked like she was like, it was like some kind of heel thing, but it turns like that this work has turned into a shoot, and now it seems like everybody's saying that that's clearly the case. So then we had the Inner Circle responding, and Jericho was good on the mic as always, but one to watch out for was Santana. He was really, really strong. I felt sometimes that Jericho was kind of pushing him down when he was doing some good promo work, where he could have just let him go for it. Then we had Billy Gunn versus QT Marshall. And on the sidelines were a couple of those, including Anthony Ogogo, who gave his mentor a wooden chair. Dustin Rhodes rushed the ring to break the beatdown, but Rhodes cleared his former tag team, Dustin Rhodes. And then Camarado got hit with this weird chair. This chair was really small. It was really stupid. They should stop that. Don't do that anymore. Make sure that the chairs look like they came from somewhere. Then we had Powerhouse Hobbs versus Christian Cage. And this was a pretty good match, pretty solid. Hobbs recovered. One thing that I saw that nobody has mentioned, so I'm going to bring it up. I thought it was really weird because Aubrey grabbed Hobbs and moved him. And that was really strange because obviously, Aubrey Edwards is supposed to be, she's a referee for sure, but she's a woman and she shouldn't be as strong as Hobbs. I mean, Hobbs looks like this massive beast, and then you have the ref just moving him like he's a piece of, for lack of better words, garbage. It doesn't help him. So I thought that was kind of weird, and I'm surprised nobody's mentioned that because I thought that was a really odd thing. Then we had Cage. He fought his way back into the match, escaping Hobbs' grasp and delivering a powerbomb out of the corner. He scaled the ropes and delivered a frog splash for a 2 count as Hobbs demonstrated his toughness. Hobbs recovered, delivered a running hip attack corner for a very close 2. But Ricky Starks came out to his teammates' aid after the match. Oh, I'm sorry. It was a win with a kill switch. And then we had Ricky come out, and there's a situation where Taz was yelling to Christian, and that's when Hook came in and knocked him out, and then we had Cage come in, and so it looks like it's going to be now Cage versus Cage. Brian Cage versus Christian Cage. So that'll be interesting. Then we had a championship match with Darby Allin and Jungle Boy, which is really interesting that they met, being as how they are both faces. So that was an odd decision. And there was a situation where Luchasaurus put his guy back in the match, and Sting wasn't having that. So they had a little bit of a tussle as they both went in through the face entranceways, and I could just imagine. I think it's funny that I'm sure that as soon as they got past the cameras, they're just like, "So hey man, how are you doing?" I don't know. I can imagine, or did I do that right, or how should I do that, or whatever? Because if you had a chance to talk to Sting, wouldn't you? Then the challenger locked in the snare trap, but Allen made it to the ropes. Jungle Boy trapped him in the surfboard, and then reapplied the snare trap. Darby yanked the hair and gouged the eyes to break the hold, which is not exactly what you would call face tactics. Jungle Boy peppered Allen with palm strikes, but the champion trapped him in the Last Supper for the pinfall victory. Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page then attacked, and later delivering an Ego's Edge to Allen, Lance Archer made the save, which was kind of strange because... and then got beat until Sting came back, and it was a pretty good match. I thought, like I said, it had a nice flow to it, so I thought it was a good match, an overall good show, and definitely better than Raw. Next, we have Rebellion results this weekend, which I think a lot of people would like to know. So we had... an X Division Championship with TJP versus Josh Alexander versus Ace Austin. And the winner was Alexander defeated TJP and Austin to win the title. And there was an 8-man tag match. VBD, which is, what is that? That's Violent by Design And they had Joe Doran, Rhino, and Diener were joined by the debuting W. Morrissey, formerly Big Cass, for a huge 8-man tag team match against longtime Impact stalwarts Cowboy James Storm, Chris Sabin, Eddie Edwards, and Willie Mack. The Hills wisely sought to cut the ring off, isolating their opponents and keeping them from their partners. It worked momentarily as they worked over Storm. A hot tag to Mack brought about the babyface comeback and contributed to the actions set into chaos. Morrissey, the standout of the match, dominated the opposition, and after Sabin delivered a superplex to Diener that wiped out the rest of the competitors on the floor, the former NXT and WWE superstar obliterated Mack with a big boot and finished him off with East River Crossing for the win, showing bitterness and viciousness we had not seen out of him before Morrissey unloaded with a barrage of punches to the already defeated former X Division champion before leaving victoriously. Violent by design, and Morrissey defeated Edwards, Sabin, Storm, and Mack. This was about as impressive a debut as you could have asked for out of Morrissey. So Big Castle's looking pretty good. Then we had Matt Cardona versus Brian Myers. The career-long friendship gave way to the bitter grudge match Sunday as Matt Cardona battled Major Wrestling Figure podcast co-host and former WWE Tag Team title partner Brian Myers. Myers used Cardona's emotions against him early, earning the upper hand and working him over at the center of the ring. Cardona dodged a roster cut and delivered what commentator Matt Stryker referred to as the hot mess, an unprettier and ode to Cardona's fiancée Chelsea Green. Myers kicked out at two. That makes way more sense. Delivered a big spear on the arena floor. Cardona, this was from Bleacher Report, by the way. Myers lifted Cardona to his feet only to drop him with a clothesline. The roster cut finished Cardona off as Myers picked up the underhanded victory. Myers defeated Cardona. And then we had the Knockouts Tag Team Championship match. Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellerin versus Hogan and Ellerin and Grace defeated Fire and Flava to win the titles. Then we had a last man standing match, Trey McGill versus Sami Callihan. The intensely personal feud between Trey McGill and Sami Callihan came to a head as the last man standing match. Former seeking to prove his passion to the antagonist, he saw it too hard too early, launching himself through the ropes with a tope suicido and saw him crash sternum first into the guardrail. The draw followed up by an unsuccessful high-risk maneuver by tossing Miguel onto the floor and punishing him with an array of weapons. Back in the ring, the former rascal used Callahan's on twisted creativity against him, driving the heel into a pile of chairs. And everything Callahan threw at the babyface, Miguel narrowly survived. To continue fighting, he was sliding out of the ring onto his feet to break the count. Finally, in offensive, Miguel delivered a cutter through a table at ringside. Both men struggled to their feet, Miguel reaching his base and earning the win as Callahan slipped and fell back down. So Miguel defeated Callahan, which is kind of cool. Then we had the Impact Tag Team Championship match of Finn Juice versus the Good Brothers. The Good Brothers have been fighting a lot on AEW, so it was kind of like they're kind of a mixed team now to a degree. New Japan Pro Wrestling's Finn Juice, David Finlay, and Juice Robinson returned to the Impact Zone for a title defense against the men they defeated to capture the gold in the first place, the Good Brothers Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. After an early onslaught by the champions, the challengers slowed things down, and Gallows added a cheap pump kick to the face of Finlay to seize control. The big man worked Finlay over with a headlock, driving the air out of him and making it nearly impossible for him to fight across the ring to his partner. Finlay brought Gallows down with an uppercut for the ropes and dodged Anderson en route to the hot tag team. Robinson fired up the hills, delivering sentons and cannonballs ahead of a quality near fall. The champions utilized demolition, decapitation, but could not get the challengers away. They set up a doomsday device, but Gallows sent Finlay tumbling to the floor. Back in, the heels wiped out Robinson, but the resilient, charismatic champion kicked out. The Good Brothers set up a magic killer, but Finley wiped Anderson out, allowing Robinson to execute a small package on Gallows and score the win. Finn Juice defeated the Good Brothers to retain the titles. Then, of course, we had the Knockouts Championship. Tennille Dashwood versus Diana Peraza. And the winner in that was Peraza defeated Dashwood to retain her title. And then, of course, we had the title versus title match. And this has not happened for a very long time. This is the first time this has happened in a while. And this was Kenny Omega putting out his title for the Impact Championship. I think most people knew how this was going to go. And it was a heck of a match, which I would suggest you see. But just to let you know, so as to not be surprised, well, we'll tell you. Omega taunted Eddie Edwards and Willie Mack at ringside as he rocked Swan in another V-trigger. Swan finally shook off the V-trigger for one more Phoenix Splash attempt. He missed. Omega delivered another V-trigger and put Swan away with the one-winged angel for the win. The new champion celebrated his win with his titles, Don Callis and the Good Brothers, as Edwards and Mack tended to Swan. So that is what happened, and we'll have to see what happens on AEW Dynamite. Now, one thing that people are saying about AEW Dynamite is that they did not discuss Rebellion at all last week, which was kind of a strange thing. There was a commercial for it, but they really didn't discuss it. The Elite discussed it, said, well, you have a big match, but they didn't really, super hype it, which is kind of weird. So I don't know if there's some kind of bad blood or some kind of a situation, but hopefully they get past it and we get some more good wrestling from both programs. That would be amazing. So I guess now I'm going to take the time and I am going to talk about what I think might happen on Raw. I think we'll get another Alyssa Bliss segment. Maybe interrupting Charlotte. I don't know. Maybe we'll get Alexa Bliss threatening Charlotte. That would be interesting. I'm trying to book realistically. I don't want to get managing expectations is important in the wrestling game. I don't want to be telling you that all this stuff is going to happen, and then when you tune in, you're like, oh. So I'm totally giving you things that might be the S words. As far as this goes, I think that we might get another Bray Wyatt segment. We could get Braun Strowman versus Randy Orton. That match didn't happen last week, so it might happen this week. I hope it never happens. Doesn't really appeal to me, but it's an interesting idea because it's like, the idea of that Braun Strowman might not be able to get the RKO around Braun Strowman's neck because he's a big guy and that kind of thing, but I don't know. I don't know if we've never had this match like they've said. Sometimes it seems like they say that we've never had those matches, and then you find out that we have, in fact, had those matches. Oh, I'm going to say, unfortunately, that we are going to get some kind of fight between Nia Jax and that kind of four triad of folks. I don't know if we'll get a tag team or we'll get a singles, but it might be a singles that devolves into a tag team. Nobody will care or remember, and it'll be terrible. Then we might get, and then I think we might get I'm trying to figure out the main event. I think then we might get a Riddle match. I'm going to guess it's going to be with either Randy Orton and Sheamus, or it's going to be or it'll be a return for Riddle Sheamus. Something like that. I don't know. Then I think we're going to get some kind of a match between Drew McIntyre and maybe it'll be T-Bar. They did lose their masks, so maybe that will come up, or maybe they'll just totally ignore it and they'll have their masks on again. It's hard to say because they don't seem to keep consistency. So the main event, I guess the main event will probably be, it'll probably be, I don't know, maybe it'll be Bobby Lashley and I don't know. Lashley Strowman, maybe. I don't know. I can't. I don't know. Randy Orton, Lashley, because they were in that weird triple threat thing. I don't know where they're going to put Sheamus. I'd love to see some other matches, though. Any matches would be good. The New Day versus... Oh, man, I hope we don't get the New Day versus... We had Riker, and we had... So we've had every combination of those. I don't know who else they would fight. I know we haven't seen Almost with AJ Styles in a while, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. And I'm guessing we're going to get Miz versus... We're going to get Miz TV either hyping his Miz versus Mrs. show, or just a John Morrison Miz TV segment where they might call out, they'll probably call out Damian Priest again. Hopefully that won't be a match. Actually, if it was Morrison versus Priest, that might be the best match of the night, and that would be pretty good, but I don't know that we'll get that because that would be enjoyable, and they don't like us to enjoy Raw. I can't think of anything that would be amazing. Maybe a Rhea Ripley match. Rhea Ripley versus Scarlett, or I don't know. I mean, are they going to go for the trifecta? Are we going to have Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte offered as free TV? As you know what? That's what I'm going to predict. They're going to do a Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte match with an interference by Asuka, although Asuka's never played that game, and it would be very strange. But sure, why not? I don't know. Try and enjoy Raw. Imbibe where you have to imbibe, smoke where you need to smoke, and live through it, guys. And this was the 1, 2, 3. And thank you for taking your time and watching me. And I will see you all later.